Hello and welcome back to Lorcana Villain. My name is Baker, and today we've got some more top 8 deck lists to look at. This one from an event in France at Escape Mind Bar Ludique. This took place on the 3rd of March and is our second biggest paper tournament that we've had since the release of Into the Inklands. We had the 101 person event in Germany on the initial release weekend, and there's been a couple of online events that have superseded this, but yes, in terms of actual real life play, this is our second biggest tournament so far post Into the Inklands with 64 players. So yep, important information to look at, so let's take a look at the top 8 deck lists. And if you're looking to buy Lorcana singles, check out Cardmarket for all your trading card game needs. So in first place, a familiar sight for those of us that have been playing Lorcana since Season 1 or Season 2, we've got some good old-fashioned Ruby Amethyst Control. I've called this one Location Control. I think if you're all in on Gym and like 5-6 locations, then you are Location Control. So let's take a look. We've got 7 1-drops, 4 mini and 3 Olaf, opting for the bigger bodies as opposed to the bigger beat stick, options like Rafiki. We've got no additional 2-drops, nothing fancy, no Kuzgos, no LeFous, no Pinocchios, nothing like that, but the traditional 4 Madam Mim snakes. So we're looking for a pretty traditional opening curve. 4 copies of the Fox. We've got 2 copies of Merlin Crab to make our characters hit all the harder, get more value out of these 1-drops, taking them up to 4/3 beat sticks, which can do a lot of damage and just help us reach the numbers that we need to be able to hit for certain locations. We are running the 4 Stylish Surfer Mini. I still think Stylish Surfer Mini is well worth the run. There's a lot of evasive answers in format. Lots of Jafars, Maui's fish hooks that are becoming more and more popular, and of course most players that are running mini are running crabs, but that was the case during second chapter, and people still got loads of value from mini. I can see the argument for cutting her, but I still think she's perfectly fine to run. She's so cheap, she's inkable. Even if you do only get 1 quest out of her, then that's fine. She's also a Madame Medusa target, but again, she's so cheap, it's probably still worth the run. 4 copies of Goat, 4 copies of Rabbit. We are running the 2 Prince Eric, not all Ruby Amethyst control decks looking to utilize this. 4 cost uninkable, 2/2, quest for 2. And surprise maneuver. When this character is banished, you may banish chosen character. Personally, I found this to be a little bit too slow. It can be impactful, especially if you are running Teeth and Ambitions like this person is at a 4 count, because you can offset it yourself. And there are worlds where if you're on the play, if they go turn 3, Ursula 3-drop for an example. There are other things, but that's one of the prime targets. Then you take your turn 4, you put down Eric, and then you sing Teeth of Ambitions with a 2-drop that you put down on 2 or 3, so then you can immediately get some removal. I still find him a bit too slow, but he is a good card, so he will still pop up in the Ruby Amethyst lists. As I said, we've got the 4 Jim Hawkins who can rush locations onto the field and rush to them, and a 4/4 stat line is pretty respectable. He's an inkable, quest for 2, and our 2 locations are, we've got 4 copies of the Queen's Castle, pretty standard, 4 cost inkable, 1/7 stat line. At the beginning of your turn, you draw a card for every character there. And the RLS Legacy, similar to Eric. Not all RA decks are seeing the need to play this. It's pretty starved on uninkables as it is, because there's so many good uninkables it wants to play. But RLS Legacy, a great card, giving evasive to all characters there. And if we all, it's a 3/8, so 8 is just that bit a bit higher that people need to be able to reach to take it out. And 3 is a lot to move there, but if you've already got a character there, it only costs 1. So ideally, we rush it out with Jim. He goes to it for free, and then we're moving to it for just 1 ink for any of our other characters. 4 friends on the other side. We've gone for the 3 Medusa, no Lady Tremaines here, no Maleficents, much more mid-range, and the 4 Maui, which I think is really, really important. So yeah, a pretty standardized Ruby Amethyst list, or at least one of the 2 RA versions that seem to be going about at the moment. But yeah, a fantastic run from this person, 64-person tournament, and led Ruby Amethyst all the way to first place. So congratulations to them. We'll do all of our Ruby Amethyst lists in a row as usual, but we'd be looking at this one next anyway, because also in second place, we have some more Ruby Amethyst Control. There's something very familiar about all this. So some differences here. We have once again gone for 7 1-drops, all the 1/3s, so no Rafikis. We do have 2 Kuzcos here, who I really like. 2 cost inkable, 1/2, quest for 1, and when he's banished, you draw a card. So it just lets you go wide without being punished so much by Be Prepared and grab your swords and stuff, because you're retaining card advantage. And it's another character that we can put down if we miss our 1-drops to still have turn 3 Madam Mim Fox online. We're also running the 2 copies of Pinocchio, Talkative Puppet, 2 cost uninkable, 1/1, quest for 1. When you play this character, you may exert chosen opposing character. Really important. I'm loving this in my own Ruby Amethyst list. Exerting characters is always good, but like so many decks, Emerald being one of the main contenders, just get so much advantage if they can get their turn 3 Ursula and then Sing on turn 4. So if we can upset that, then that's going to be really good. Against Sapphire Steel, perhaps we're able to take out their Singer before they get a free wheel. So yeah, Pinocchio's been feeling really good for me. We've got the 4 Fox, we've got the 2 Crab, just 3 copies of Steiner Surfer Mini, 3 Goat, 4 Merlin Rabbit. We have opted for just 2 copies of Jim Hawkins, which is where I'm at as well. I'm on 2 Jim Hawkins, 4 Queen's Castle, and I really like this list, but biasly, because this is quite similar to what I'm running. 1 copy of Agrobar, 3 cost inkable, 1 5-stat line, and 2 passive lore gain. I'm on 2 of these. My location count is 4 Queen's Castle, 2 Agrobar, and 2 Jim. So I know this from my experience so far testing, which has been good. You'll see some of those games soon in my Ruby Amethyst deck profile. I really like these numbers. I think this could be 2 happily, but like Agrobar I think is really good, and again it's one of those things that you can perhaps bait out the Maui and then take out the Maui before you put down your Queen's Castle. Sometimes it's just about making them challenge and like then leaving you open to like clear their board a little bit easier, rather than this sort of stalemate that you often have, especially in the mirror or against steel decks. And early game, if they don't play anything, any characters the first couple of turns, you put this down turn 3. It might be a couple of turns before they can deal with it, so it can put in a lot of work. Always good to put out post Be Prepared, just clear their board, and then you put down a couple of locations where they couldn't necessarily always deal with them both. Obviously, depending on how many Mauis they have if you're against Ruby. But yeah, I'm really enjoying Agrobar. Once again, 3 copies of Madame Medusa, no Tremaines, and 1 copy of Dragon's Fire. I'm on 2 of these in my list. I think it's just so important, and it means you don't have to play the Tremaine, I think, because I've been saying for about a week or so that I like, as much as I love Madame Medusa, I still feel like the Tremaine's important, because sometimes bigger bodies just gotta go. So I was thinking, okay, Tremaine is the way, but there's so many 1-drops in format. I think it's not reliable that you're going to get the Tremaine hit off as often as you would like. So I think the Dragon's Fires are really good for the beasts. Is one of the prime targets that comes to mind for anything that, like, if they Jim Hawkins to their own location. Yeah, I'm really enjoying the Dragon's Fire. We've got 4 Teeth and Ambitions here. No Prince Eric. I've moved away from Teeth, to be honest. It's a good card, but I've not missed it for what it's worth. But still respect it. Good card. 4 Friends. 4 Be Prepared. And then another card that I am absolutely loving in my own builds is Maui's Fishhook, becoming very, very popular. And I'm going to say it one more time. I don't consider myself someone that is really an innovator. I just report on people doing it better. I know the deal. But I absolutely called Pinocchio and Maui's Fishhook being good before the data started showing it. And I'm glad it's showing. And yeah, it's feeling really good. 3 cost inkable item. It's Maui time. If you've got Maui on the field, you can use the Shapeshift for free. You still have to exert. I'm going to say that every time I talk about this card for a good week or 2. Because I feel like people aren't exerting, and then they're just going, yo, I can just keep boosting my character multiple times, right? Or just give multiple things evasive. You've still got to exert, my friends. But you can not pay the 2 ink if you've got a Maui out to choose one. Either chosen character gets evasive until the start of your next turn, or chosen character gets +3 strength. So great for dealing with opposing evasives, making our characters more annoying, making them evasive ourselves, and just hitting those bigger numbers, which is important for big bodies. And again, locations are so strong. strong. It means you don't have to be always reliant on a Maui. Literally Fishhook with Madam Mim Fox takes out the Queen's Castle, and if you're looking at RLS Legacy, you only need another 1 damage, and even if you're looking at McDuck Manor, which is a great location for Sapphire, with Maui's Fishhook, it just becomes so much easier to take out, like Madam Mim Fox plus the 3 boost from Fishhook, and then you only need to find another 2 damage, which depending on your build, you know, could be Rabbit, could be the Merlin, although the Merlin could just boost you up the final bit you need. It's one of the reasons I'm opting for Rafiki's. I'm on 4 Rafiki and 3 Mini, just for another beat stick that you can boost up with the Fishhook. But yeah, really like this list. It's similar to one I've been playing, so I can say from experience it's feeling really strong. Doesn't surprise me it led them to 2nd place. And yeah, another Ruby Amethyst mirror match in the finals. I don't think that, like, nobody panic. This ain't gonna be, it's happening again! No. It's cool. The meta's healthy, guys. We're fine. But yeah, congratulations to them. And then our last Ruby Amethyst list. Slightly different build. In this list, we are opting for the 4 Olaf and a 3 Rafiki. No Fishhook in this deck, but still Rafiki's good. It's just a good check character to be able to hit for that 3. 2 Kuzco I really like to help you keep tempo. We've got the 4 Snake. Only 3 Fox in here. That's interesting. I think Fox is so good. But okay, we are seeing the 2 Pinocchio. I love this as a tech, really strong. The 2 Maleficent, I'm on a 2 counter Maleficent in my RA deck. I think just more card draw options, especially in the RA mirror. The Rabbit versus Rabbits board, like Mexican standoff, is so real. It is if you're playing RA mirrors, you will spend 90% of your time with 2 rabbits on the field, and they'll have 2 rabbits on the field, and maybe just to switch it up, someone will play an Olaf or a Maleficent or something like that. But yeah, just additional card draw, and more things that we can bounce and use it again, and more characters that have, like, this. I think the 2 strength is important on more characters, or at least 2, because just combined with Maui, it takes out the RLS Legacy, which is a quite specific interaction, I know, but still I think an important one considering how common you're seeing these. Or alternatively for the McDuck Manor, you do need to be able to fight, like, that's not enough, it needs to be 6 plus 3, so really you need Maui plus Madam Mim, but I suppose you could have Maui, Maleficent, Olaf. You always need to think about the maths that you can do to take out opposing locations. That's one thing that I'm learning. I've learning quickly. Words, man, they're so incredibly hard. But yeah, 2 Crab, 4 Mini, 4 Goat, 4 Rabbit. We are playing the 4 Jim Hawkins with the 4 Queen's Castle, the 2 RLS Legacy, 4 Maui, 3 Madame Medusa, and 4 Be Prepared. So looks good. No. There's no friends on the other side. I've seen people drop to 3. And I watched Zephyr's, he uploaded like a 4-hour video of like his entire run for the online tournament. And he was talking about the justification for 3 friends on the other side, which I respect. But none? Like, come on, man. We were like some friends on the other side, but hey, it led just Gary to top 8, so big up. Congratulations to them. Moving into top 4 now, we've got some Ruby Sapphire Pawp Control with some spicy meatballs. So we be taking advantage of being able to ramp and then have lots of ink to play some big bulky characters. So we'll go through this list slightly differently and not just in order. So just taking a look at our ramp. We've got 4 copies of One Jump Ahead, which can be sung. Our lowest cost character is the Queen of Hearts, who is a 2-drop, so she can sing this and then anything above. We've got How Far I'll Go, which is look at the top 2 cards of your deck. 1 goes into your hand, 1 goes into your inkwell, which again is ramp. It's letting us find key pieces. It's going to be a little bit more control over our ramp. It's card draw and can be sung by our 4 cost characters, which we'll come back to because there's some spice. And we've got 4 copies of Fishbone Quill. So those are the methods that we're using for additional ramp. For the big bodies, we've got 3 copies of Maleficent Monstrous Dragon, which makes all the sense when you're playing red-blue. Like, even at 4 count, I think that's justified. We've got 2 copies of Hades, which is removal, but it sends it to their inkwell, so we are fueling them a little bit, but just removal is good. We've got 3 copies of Madame Medusa, who's another mid to high cost character, so nice to have her online a little earlier, maybe. We've got 4 Mauis to control the board, and we've got 4 Be Prepared. So those are our big control the board options. We've also got the 4 Queen of Hearts, as I mentioned, who can sing 1 jump ahead, but she's here for the early aggro, because this deck has a really slow first few turns otherwise, because it wants to go turn 1, Pawpsicle, turn 2, it's either playing Queen of Hearts to check an aggro deck, or it might just play 1 jump ahead, but normally it's got a slow couple of turns to start off. So Queen of Hearts is going to be a nice rush response. We've also got 2 copies of Mulan, who's a 4-cost uninkable 4/3, quest for 1 and rush. And to be fair, if we do play 1 jump ahead on turn 2, just hard play it and pay for it, then this is online from turn 3, so that's a nice early board response as well. We've got 4 copies of Grandma Tala, the 4-cost inkable 3/3, quest for 1. When you play, look at the top 2 cards of your deck. 1 goes in your hand and 1 goes to the bottom. So helping us find key pieces that we need, which is also important in this deck to be able to make sure that we've got a card like Mulan to respond to a board threat, or if we have no card draw, maybe we need to find Flavisham, who we've got 4 copies of here, who lets you draw 2 cards by banishing an item both when he enters play and when he quests. In that vein, we've got 4 Pawpsicle, which is always our preferred turn 1 drop, which lets us draw a card, and it does also have a secondary banish this item, remove up to 2 damage from chosen character, which can be maths that matters sometimes, but really we just want this to be a card that's helping us fin, and then there to be fuel for Flavisham to draw us more cards. Fishbone Quill, as I mentioned, is an item which lets us put any card from our hand into our inkwell. This can be an item that we remove with Flavisham, but if we are doing that, hopefully it's in the late game, because really we want to get the value from Fishbone Quill and be accelerating our ramp. And once again, we're seeing the 2 copies of Maui's Fishhook, and that's something else that we can banish with Flavisham if we really need to, so it fills that purpose, but just another really strong card, make our characters evasive and annoying, make us hit for bigger numbers to take out big bodies and locations, so we love to see it. To go with these items, we've also got another big body here, Tamatoa, 8-cost inkable 5/8 stat line, quest for 1. 2 abilities. When you play him and when he quests, you can return an item from our discard to our hand. So our Pawpsicles getting them back, and hey, if we did remove the Fishbone Quills of the Maui's Fishhook because we really needed the Flavisham draw, then we can get them back and then utilize them again. We've got 2 copies of Nick Wilde here, 4-cost inkable 2/4, quest for 2, and when you play him, you can return a Pawpsicle to your hand, just making sure we've got more options, and again, more Pawpsicle is more card draw, more fuel for Flavisham, so you love it. 2 copies of Jim Hawkins to rush out. We've got 2 different locations, 5 locations total. 1 copy of the RLS Legacy, so hopefully we're going to make more of our characters evasive and annoying, and preferably we're rushing this out with Jim, so it then only costs us 1 to move other characters there. And then 4 copies of the Big Bad McDuck Manor, 4-cost inkable 1/9 stat line. It's a big house, it's a big mansion, and 2 passive lore gain. Just demands an answer. It's just going to give you such a lore bump. And we've got 3 copies of Develop Your Brain here, which is a 1-cost inkable. Look at the top 2 cards of your deck. 1 goes in your hand and 1 to the bottom. So again, this deck has a lot of pieces and a lot of combo pieces, and like it needs to find... There's a lot going on here. So finding pieces that we really need is really important. Hence the 4 Tala and the 3 Develop Your Brain. But yeah, it looks really good. Right at the beginning of format, I did a video on location control, where I was literally just on 4 Maui, 4 Flavisham, 4 of the Baby Tile, the 2-cost, and then just loads of locations. So I know that deck in itself is strong. This is a more character-heavy build, because the advantage of the build I was playing was, like, it just doesn't have many targets for the opposing removal, like Be Prepared, Maleficent, Hades, whatever it might be. We just don't have many bodies that care about it. It's all locations, and then things like Be Prepared and stuff to like control the board and stop our opponent getting a field that can deal with our locations. And this is just going the other way, putting an emphasis on the bodies. Queen of Hearts and Mulan, who can both deal with early game threats and sing songs. Tala to find the key pieces that we need. Flavisham is a drawing machine. Nick Wilde, again, he's in himself, just putting him down. He's a 2/4 body. The 4 willpower matters a lot, and questing for 2 is nice, and again, he's inkable. We can Jim Hawkins out these locations. I did say there was potentially an argument for the Jim Hawkins going into the build that I did, which was like character light. So yeah, I like it. The 4 Maui standard, you need those. But yeah, opting for the 3 Medusa, like just more big bodies to go along with this ramp and location control. So yeah, looks good to me. Huge congratulations to them. Moving on to top 4 now, the first of 2 Emerald Amethyst decks that made it. But once again, we've got some Hyper Aggro. So this version not utilising the 3-drop Ursula to get more benefit from our songs. Instead, just all the cheap characters are just quest as quickly as possible with elements of control built in. So we've got 4 Maleficent as an uninkable quest for 2. We've also got 4 Pascal for those early drops, 4 copies of Cursed Merfolk as another 1 drop who's uninkable but questing for 2, but has the ability where if he's challenged or it's challenged, then the opponent discards a card, so just limiting our opponent's options. Also goes with the 4 copies of Flynn Rider, who has the same ability but 2 cost inkable and a 1/2 stat line. We've got Madam Mim Snake to be a body that can like help deal with opposing boards. 3 is a really respectable number to hit, and again it keeps our low cost, high questing characters safe. So yeah, we quest with Maleficent and then return it back with Madam in Fox, so that they're not just taking out the Maleficent and it's there to come down again. 4 copies of Pinocchio to be an even more aggressive quester with that 3 lore. 4 copies of Ursula to remove songs from the opposing hand, which is one of the reasons this deck is so good. We can deny our opponent the grab your swords, the be prepared, and we can just go nice and wide. 3 copies of Arthur for some more bounce. When he quests, return a character of yours to your hand to gain 2 lore. So again, just a lore bump and keeping our characters safe. And of course we can also keep Arthur safe if we play him on turn 3, if we already had a 2 drop or a 1 drop. Turn 4, we quest of Arthur, return the 2 or 1 drop back to our hand, and then we play down Snake or Fox to return the Arthur and keep him safe and just get a nice little loop going. 4 Fox, as I said, for some board response, 2 Cloud Kicker to bounce back 2 strength or less characters, which is a lot. 4 Goat, we're also seeing the return of the Emperor. Shout out to Breezy, as always. We've got Kuzco, Temperamental Emperor, 5 cost uninkable, 2/4, quest for 3, Ward, which is hella annoying, and no touchy. When this character is challenged and banished, you may banish the challenging character. Kuzco always pops back up occasionally. It's just, he's fine. He's a solid card. But yeah, found success in this tournament, so big up. 4 copies of Befuddle that lets us return an item or character at cost 2 or less to the player's hand. So great for the mirror, and even not in the mirror, like returning the 1 drop for Ruby Amethyst, like Rafiki or Minnie, or the Snake. Yeah, like I say, opposing aggros, Arthurs, things like that. 4 copies of Friends on the other side for the draw. We're running 2 copies of Sorcerer's Spellbook for some more cheeky lore gains. Still not seeing any item removal in format, so why not? And then we've got some locations. We've got 2 copies of the Queen's Castle, which obviously has the built-in draw effect. And then we're seeing 4 copies of Deville Manor. 1 cost inkable, 1/4, and 1 passive lore gain. It is 1, right? Yeah, 1. That'd be stupid. But yeah, like it. Another 1 drop that we can put down. It demands the attention from our opponent, so they are challenging into Deville Manor and exerting their characters. And then we've got things like Snakes and Foxes to control the board so that our little guys can just keep questing. And if they ignore it, then we're just getting passive lore gain. So yeah, looks really good. A slightly different version of EA Hyper Aggro, but putting in another good shift. So Emerald Amethyst, 2 really good builds. The more mid-rangey Ursula 3-drop build, and then just this Hyper Aggro version. So yeah, congratulations to them. And our other Emerald Amethyst deck is some EA Tempo. Just win the game. I feel like I'm doing it too much, but I know that the one time I don't, I'll be a comment saying, you didn't do the thing. So I'm gonna do the thing. But yeah, this version utilizing the 3-drop Ursula, one of the most powerful cards in the game. 2/3, quest for 1, and what a deal. Whenever this character sings a song, play that song again from your discard for free, then put it at the bottom of your deck. So we've got the 4 Mother Knows Best in here to return characters, which becomes return 2 if sung by Ursula, and Friends on the other side, which becomes draw 4. So mass disruption, mass card gain. It just means a lot. We're in a deck which is very aggro, mid-rangey anyway, and like, yeah, it's just going to run away, and it's got those mid-game options that the Hyper Aggro lists don't. We've got 2 copies of Chernobog's Followers, who I really like. 1 drop, inkable 2/1, so it can be a check, or it can just help us deck thin and find the pieces that we need. 3 copies of Rafiki to be a nice 3 beat stick check. 4 copies of Cursed Merfolk, and 4 copies of Flynn Rider. We've got the 3 Snake, 4 Fox, 4 Ursula for the Song Disruption. We are seeing 3 copies of Crab in here to make us hit those nice big numbers, especially with things like Rafiki. We're getting big, we're taking out big bodies. We're taking out locations. You'll love to see it. 4 copies of Kit Cloud Kicker. I'm struggling with that name. I really am. Ursa, obviously, 4 Goat, 3 Rabbit. We've got 3 Tinkerbells, an annoying evasive that quests for 2. 2 Yzma, to either bounce our own characters back to our deck to get a little draw bump. But sometimes we do need other removal. Like, we got the Mother's Knows Best, but there's some things that just gotta go that we really dislike. 2 copies of Genie that can also bounce things back and being another annoying evasive quester with a 3-4 stat line. 4 Friends, I've done the songs, and then 4 copies of the Queen's Castle. So another shell that looks very similar to the more tempo versions of EA, but yeah, looks good. Congratulations to them. Next up, we've got some Emerald Steel mid-range for the top 8. So once again, we're utilising the 3-drop Ursula, but different sort of package to go with her. We've got 3 copies of Let the Storm Rage On, which can be a double, so we're dealing 4 chip and drawing 2 cards. Just drawing 2 cards by playing this with Ursula, that in itself is just really good. And then the 4 chip, yeah, so strong. 4 copies of Strength of a Raging Fire that can hit nice big numbers with a wide board, and you just times it by 2 if Ursula's on the field. Although to be fair, like, you can do it to 2 different characters. For 2 copies, other than Along Came Zeus, I like at least 3 of these. Such an important card, I think. But yeah, deals with so much of the meta. 4 copies of Whole New World, 2 copies of Grab Your Swords, which I do think is a little low. I can understand 3. It's just such an important card. Like, Tink Swords, like, Zephyr highlighted this recently. Like, just Tink Swords is such a strong play, and especially in a meta that, like, a lot of it is a lot of wide, low-cost characters with a lot of Emerald in format. So yeah, I do like this to be at least a 3. But yeah, still a good song package. We've got 2 copies of Smash for instant removal of things like opposing Ursulas. 2 Rise of the Titans, really important for those big locations like Queen's Castle, like McDuck Manor, and also, like, I say there's no item removal in format. There's this. And this is going to be able to pick off people that are trying to take advantage of lessened item removal with their things like spell books and Fishbone Quill. Like, if you're on the draw, responding to a Fishbone with a turn 3 Rise of Titan sometimes can probably feel quite good. 2 copies of Fire the Cannons. And then our character lineup, we've got a 4-4 Robin Hood line, really strong, with 2 abilities letting us draw when he's banished. And if we banish something, then we gain 2 lore. And 3-6, the 6 is really important, helping him survive Along Came Zeus. And he's another character that can sing our 5-cost songs from turn 3 onwards. 4 copies of Morph to be another target for our shift characters. 4 Ursula for the song removal. We're running 3 copies of Cinderella Knight in Training, 2-cost Inkable, 2-2. Quest for 1. When you play this character, you may draw a card, then choose and discard a card. So helping us find key pieces that we need. Maybe we put this down on turn 2 because we really want to find the Ursula, or we really want to find a song to go with her, or we really want to find the Robin Hood to shift onto our baby Robin Hood, or maybe we already have that and we really want to find the Whole New World or the Grab Your Swords or the Along Came Zeus. Yeah, just I can see the reasoning for this. And especially when you're running 4 copies of the Stout-Hearted Cinderella, which is so strong, with its 5-5 stat line, Quest for 3, Shift 5, Resist 2, and Singing Sword. Play a song, challenge ready characters. So yeah, I bet this got a lot of value. 3 Cloud Kicker for the board control. Just 1 copy of Jafar. It just has a really nice stat line. It can sing Along Came Zeus. It's additional card draw. So yeah, it might look a little random, but I don't disagree with it. Like, if it was here instead of like a 4th Stout-Hearted or 4th Beast, or like the fact that these are all 4s, I think this is perfectly reasonable. 4 copies of the Beast, as I mentioned. I keep not explaining what this does, and I'm trying to be friendly to newcomers, as it is one of the most powerful cards in the game. At the start of your turn, if this character has no damage, draw a card. Otherwise, he gets +4 strength this turn. So just drawing cards is king. Being able to draw an extra card right at the beginning of your turn on top of your standard draw is just so strong. He rarely gets to see that second draw these days because there's so much ping in format. There's Medusas to remove him, but if you can just get even just 1 turn of value from him, then that's great. And if he does take chip damage, then being a 7-5 beat stick is pretty good. It takes out most things, or that plus another small poke is going to take out big locations and stuff. So yeah, Beast really strong. 4 copies of Tinkerbell, and yeah, deck looks really strong. Emerald Steel, maybe not performing as well as most people thought it would, but I think it is really, like, it's consistently making top 8. And there's normally also Emerald Amethyst decks that are doing the same. I think we're seeing more Emerald Amethyst decks, to be honest. But just giving Emerald its flowers, man. Like, just nice to see it doing really well. So congratulations to them. And then our last top 8 list, we've got some Sapphire Steel Wheel with some spice. So once again, we're ramping. Let's just go for it from the beginning. We've got 2 copies of Captain Hook to be a nice 1-drop check. Of course, our 1-drop quite commonly we want to be Porpsicle, but this is also good for give us some more board control. Also goes with our 4 copies of Mr. Smee, who's so strong. 2-cost inkable, 3/3 quest for 2. And if at the end of your turn he's exerted and you don't have a captain, he takes 1 damage. If we've got the Captain Hook, then great. If not, it's really not that big a deal. Mr. Smee's so strong, a great stat line, questing for 2, really great. We got 3 copies of Belle, Strange but Special, who has read a book. During your turn, you can put an additional card from your hand into your inkwell face down, so additional ramp on top of our Fishbone Quill. And my favourite part, while you have 10 or more cards in your inkwell, this character gets +4 lore. So if we can ramp to 10, then she becomes a really formidable quester that demands instant answers. 3 copies of Grandma Tala, definitely proving pretty popular with the Sapphire players, just to help you find key pieces. And again, it's card draw at the end of the day. So yeah, I probably underestimated her. 4 copies of Flavisham for the draw. Nick Wilde to recycle those Porpsicles. 4 copies of Cogsworth, who is another 5-cost character that can sing our Whole New World and I'll Grab Your Swords. He's got Ward, so he's hard to remove, and Unwind, giving resist 1 to all of our other characters, just messing with our opponent's maths. 3 copies of Gaston, who's a 6-cost uninkable, but with our ramp, he's normally online by turn 4 or 5. 4/4 is a great stat line, quest for 3, and when we play him, we look at the top 3 cards of our deck. 1 goes in our hand, and the rest at the bottom. So another card to help us find key pieces, find the Tink when we need it, the swords, the wheel, the Elongame Zeus, whatever it might be. The 4 Tinkerbell, once again we're seeing just the 1 copy of Grandma Tala. The 7-cost inkable 4/8 Floodborn, just the shift 5 on top of our baby Grandma Tala. Quest for 2, and do you know who you are? Whenever a card is put into your inkwell, gain 1 lore. So whether we do it manually or we do some additional ramp due to 1 jump ahead, Fishbone Quill, Belle's Read a Book, whatever it might be, we're just getting a nice little lore bump. We've got 2 Hades for the removal, 4 Smash for removal, 3 1 jump ahead, 3 Elongame Zeus, 2 Let It Go for some more removal, standard songs, Porps, Fishbone, and then 1 copy of Goofy Knight in Training. For the street cred, like, for what it's worth, I like it. I think you're cool. But yeah, Sapphire Steel Wheel, a few, I'm not mad on the Tala, to be honest, from my practicing with Sapphire Steel Wheel. I don't hate just running the baby. And I suppose if you're running the baby, maybe that warrants just, it's another character you can shift 5 and then sing her songs. Maybe she's okay. I've got to think the Goofy's a meme. But hey, no offense, like respect the Knight in Training. But bruh, you got that street cred with me for whatever that's worth. But yeah, Sapphire Steel, a really good deck. Definitely a high skill tier needed to play this well. And yeah, big field, 60 plus players, and led it to top 8. So very good player clearly. So congratulations to them. And that is it for the top 8 deck lists for the 64-person event in France. Again, it looks like a healthy meta. I say that, like the return of the RA mirror match in the finals, but I don't think that's going to be all the time. It will be sometimes. RA is still a fantastic deck, but there are other things that can contend with it. So I think this is perfectly fine. Nobody panic. But that's it from me for now. If you're brand new to the channel, please subscribe for all things Lorcana. Hit the like button to show support, and we'll see you soon.